Throughout the course of history, the nation of Israel was enslaved on a number of occasions by various foreign kings. It is a common shared belief amongst Christians that the biblical Antichrist will be the final king to shatter the power of the Jewish nation just before the second coming of Jesus Christ. In fact, there is a verse in the Old Testament where Nebuchadnezzar is actually identified as the final king to shatter the power of the Jewish nation. I will elaborate more on this later. As a recap, please bear in mind that I have already explained how the forthcoming Antichrist is the character known as Nebuchadnezzar Reborn, alias Islamic. It is important to point out that the Antichrist, Nebuchadnezzar Reborn, is mentioned in a future end-time scenario found in Jeremiah chapter 50 and Jeremiah chapter 51. Later, I will take you through those chapters. Then I will explain how I know that they describe future events scheduled to take place at the end of this age, which is during the 7-year tribulation period. Some of those verses also appear to describe a coalition of Russian and NATO Western countries actually planning and then launching an armed ground troop invasion into modern-day Iraq against Nebuchadnezzar Reborn, alias Islamic. The end result of this attack will be that the coalition of Russian and Western nations will completely and permanently destroy the land of Babylon and the land of Chaldeans, known today as Upper and Lower Iraq. They will most probably accomplish this destruction by the use of devastatingly powerful weapons. Okay, so here are the Bible chapters. Jeremiah chapter 50, verses 1 to 46. The word that Jehovah spoke through Jeremiah the prophet against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans. Declare among the nations and proclaim and set up a standard. Publish and do not conceal. Tell them that Babylon is fallen. Bel is put to shame. Marduk is broken into pieces. Her idols are humiliated. Her images are broken into pieces. A nation from the north shall come against Babylon, which will make her land desolate, and no one shall dwell there. They will evacuate. Both man and beast shall depart. Evacuate from Babylon and exit the land of the Chaldeans. Behold, I shall make an assembly of great nations approach from the country located in the north, and they will take up their positions against her. From there she shall be captured. Their arrows shall be like those of an expert warrior. None shall return empty-handed, and Chaldea shall be plundered. All who plunder her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. Because you were glad, and because you rejoiced, O you destroyers of my heritage, because you have grown fat, your mother shall be ashamed. She who gave birth to you shall be ashamed. Behold, the least of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of Jehovah's wrath, she shall not be inhabited. She shall be completely desolate. Anyone who passes by Babylon shall be horrified and will hiss at all of her plagues. Take up your positions against Babylon. Surround her. All that bends the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord. Cheer as you surround her. Behold, she surrenders. Her foundations have fallen. Her walls are knocked down. For this is the vengeance of the Lord. Now you yourself take vengeance on her. Do to her exactly what she did to you. For Israel is like a sheep who has scattered. The lions have driven him away. First the king of Assyria has devoured him, and then, last of all, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, broke his bones. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land in the same way that I punished the king of Assyria. Go up against the land of Merathaim, Babylon. Get even with it. And against the inhabitants of Pekod. Lay waste and utterly destroy them, saith the Lord, and do everything that I have commanded you. A sound of battle can be heard in the land, and of great destruction. Babylon, the mightiest hammer in all the earth, lies broken and shattered. Just look how Babylon has become a desolation amongst the nations. I have set a trap for you, and you have been trapped, O Babylon, and you were not ready. You were found and caught, because you have opposed Jehovah. The Lord has opened his armoury and has brought out the weapons of his fury. For this is the work of the Lord God of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Approach her from the farthest border. Open her storehouses, leave her structures in heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing be left of her. Slay all her young bulls. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day has arrived, the time of their punishment. Hear the voice of those that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to tell those in Zion about the vengeance that the Lord our God has taken for the destruction of his temple. Call together the archers against Babylon, all those that bend the bow. Set up camp surrounding her. Let nobody escape. Repay her for her deeds, according to all that she has done. Do the same to her, for she has been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore her young men shall fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord. Behold, I am against you, O most proud, saith the Lord God of hosts. For your day has arrived, the time that I will punish you, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and no one shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all around him. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, and refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong, the Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their case, that he may give rest to the land, and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is against the Chaldeans, saith the Lord, and against the inhabitants of Babylon, and against her princes, and against her wise men. A sword is against her diviners, and they will become fools. A sword is against her mighty men, and they shall be filled with terror. A sword is against their horses and chariots, and against all the mixed peoples that are in the midst of her, and they shall become like women. A sword is against her treasures, and they shall be stolen. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is the land of graven images, and they will go mad with terror. Therefore the wild beasts of the desert, along with the jackals and owls and ostriches, shall dwell there. It shall no longer be inhabited ever again from generation to generation. As when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and their neighbouring cities, declares the Lord. No one shall reside there, neither shall any son of man inhabit it. Behold, an army is coming from the north, a great nation, and many kings are being raised up from the ends of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and without mercy. They shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one in battle formation, like a man to the battle against you, O daughter of Babylon. For the king of Babylon has heard the report about them. His hands become limp. Fear takes hold of him, with pain like a woman going into labour. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the floodplain of the Jordan River, straight into the habitation of the strong. But then I will make them suddenly run away from her. And who is this chosen man that I appointed over her? For who is like me, and who will appoint me the time? And who is this shepherd that will be able to withstand me? Therefore, hear the plans of Jehovah that he has planned against Babylon, and his purpose that he has proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the sound of Babylon's capture, the earth will tremble, and the cry is heard among the nations. Jeremiah chapter 51, verses 1 to 62. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up a destroying wind against Babylon, and against the people of Leb-Kamai, Chaldea, who oppose me. And I will send foreigners to Babylon, that shall fan her, and empty her land. In the day of trouble they shall surround her. Let not the archer string his bow, nor let him put on his armour. Do not spare her young men. Completely destroy her army. Therefore the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, fatally wounded in her streets. Escape out of Babylon and save your lives. Do not perish in her sins, for this is the time of Jehovah's vengeance. He will repay her for what she has done. Babylon was a golden cup in the hand of Jehovah, that made all the earth drunk. The nations drank her wine and became insane. Babylon has suddenly fallen and destroyed. Wail for her, take balm for her pain. Perhaps she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but nothing can save her now. Let her go, evacuate her. Let everyone return back to their own countries. For Babylon's judgment has reached up into heaven, lifted up high into the skies. Sharpen the arrows, gather the shields, for the Lord has stirred up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, whose plan is against Babylon, to destroy it, because this is the revenge that Jehovah is taking for the destruction of his holy temple. Go ahead and set up the banner upon the walls of Babylon. Post a strong guard, set up the watchmen, position men ready in ambush. For the Lord has both planned and already done that which he spoke against the inhabitants of Babylon. O Babylon, you who dwells by many waters, rich in treasures, your end has arrived, the time for you to be destroyed. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill you with troops like locusts, and they will shout in triumph over you. I will repay Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea for all the evil they have done in Zion, in Jerusalem. In front of you, saith the Lord. Behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain, who destroys all the earth, saith the Lord. And I will stretch out my hand against you, and I will roll you down from the rocks, and I will turn you into a burnt-out mountain. Babylon shall be desolate forever, saith the Lord. Set up a banner in the land. Blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations against her. Call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, East Turkey, Mini, Iran, and Ashkenaz, West Turkey. Appoint a captain against her. Bring a multitude of horses, like a swarm of locusts. Prepare the nations for battle against her, with the kings of the Medes, and their captains, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land that they rule. The land of Babylon shall tremble and writhe in pain. All that the Lord has planned will be executed against it, to make it a desolation without an inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon no longer want to fight. They have remained inside their strongholds. Their might has failed them. They have become like women. They have set on fire their dwelling places. The bars of the gate have been broken. The news is passed from one messenger to the other, and on to another, to announce to the king of Babylon that his city has been taken. All escape routes have been blocked. The marshes have been set on fire, and the army is in panic. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, daughter Babylon is like a threshing floor, and it is time to trample her. Yet in a little while the time of her harvest will come. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has devoured me. He has crushed me. He has turned me into an empty vessel. He has swallowed me up like a monster. He has filled his belly with my delicacies, and then vomited me out. May the violence done to our flesh be on Babylon, and my blood will be upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, the people of Jerusalem will say. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will plead your case, and take vengeance for you, and I will dry up her sea, and make her springs dry. And Babylon shall become a pile of rubble, a dwelling place for jackals, an object of horror and scorn, where nobody lives. Just look how Sheshach, Babylon, is surrounded, the city which is praised by the entire earth. Look how Babylon has become desolate among the nations. The sea has risen up over Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, and a wilderness, a land where no man lives, neither does any son of man pass through. And I will punish Bel in Babylon, and the nations shall no longer stream to him. Look, the wall of Babylon has fallen. Come out of her, my people. Flee from Babylon. All of you, save your lives from the fierce anger of the Lord. Therefore, behold, the days shall come that I will bring judgment on the graven images of Babylon, and her whole land shall be ashamed, and the slain shall fall in her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is in them shall shout for joy over Babylon. From out of the north destroying armies will attack her, saith the Lord. Babylon caused the murders of the people of Israel, so shall all the earth fall because of Babylon. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, the days are coming when I will execute judgment against her graven images, and throughout all of her land the wounded shall groan. The broad walls of Babylon shall be completely shattered, and her high gates shall be burned with fire. O Lord, you have spoken against Babylon to cut it off. No one shall remain in it, neither man nor beast. It shall be desolate forever.